Leadership DNA, a podcast for those who aspire to be a better leader. Alongside Arturo Gomez, I'm Rob Cressy. In today's topic, setting the foundation, the importance of clear goals and expectations. Arturo, what does this mean to you?
Well, it's kind of twofold because, you have to really, when you're approaching, and I think, on a daily basis when I'm approaching interaction with the team, setting clear expectations and establishing goals is both for you as an individual that's driving agenda, that's trying to bring awareness, that's trying to bring some leadership, that's trying to bring coaching, but also actually being able to put this on paper or be able to describe it to the individual that you're essentially coaching. And so I think there's two parts to it. It's being able to mentally get yourself as a leader into a program where you have clear expectations and goals of what the outcome should be, and then looking at the particular goal or task or the item that you're really focused in on that you want to achieve with the team, and making sure that they have the ability to establish those clear goals, write them down so that we can get to where we want to go.
Yeah, and there's two quotes that immediately come top of mind for me. Number one, uncertainty leads to inaction. If you don't know what to do, you're likely to do nothing. And then number two, happiness is a function of expectations. And Arturo, I think you nailed it. This is something that we as leaders, when I've looked at projects that have struggled or crashed and burned, it was always around a lack of clarity, a lack of communication, a lack of expectations from the top. And for me, this is why I am so fanatical about systems and processes, because by design, and you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again, systems scale, systems create clarity. And for me as a leader, I need to create these systems for myself to put my team in the best position to succeed so that they can hit the expectations that I have for them. But so often, a lot of leaders are running around with a disease of more, where they're overwhelmed, they're always busy, they're running around with their hair on fire, and it leads to a lack of clarity and a lack of processes, which leads to degraded expectations, and the performance just isn't there.
It's also lack of trust. If you're underprepared and disorganized, the people want to follow someone they know is going to be able to protect and to guide. And that doesn't come by being a disorganized, hair on fire, chaotic leader. It comes by being calm, cool, and being able to deliver the message. And what that really requires is that, for me, every time that I am going to meet with somebody, there is purpose in that meeting. And I'm speaking specifically, I try to do this on a business level where, I might be meeting, somebody that I'm pitching business or, another contemporary of mine or whatever. But when we're in a situation where we're really trying to develop and grow specifically the team and to drive agenda, you have to be more prepared than that person in every category to be able to, again, the appearance of calm and the appearance of intelligence and the appearance of organization is critical in getting belief. And belief is critical in driving, your leadership agendas and making sure that you're able to accomplish things.
Yeah, and Arturo, I think about the creation of this podcast, and I love so much what you just said, because for both of us, our time is extremely valuable. We've got a lot of things going on in a good way. So we want to make sure that we are executing like a samurai sword. And even today, like 30 minutes ago, before we started recording, on a very intentional nature, I was going through on specific sentences of our intro, of the way that I bring you in. And I think about foundationally for me as a host, as well as the way that I help leaders become exceptional hosts and create podcasts that they love. That preparation to me is what separates average from exceptional, because every time I go into something, I am so prepared, including this podcast where, hey, I might have 10 bullet points and we're only going to get to 3. But the reason for this is because I know where we're going, and my preparation allows me to show up with a level of excellence that vibrates in everything that I do, because that's what I would want out of you. And quite frankly, Arturo, this is what you deserve, because I don't take lightly that I am doing this with you, and everything we do is a reflection of our brand. So for me, showing up as the best version of myself includes my preparation in being the best version of myself, all the way down to the podcast that we deliver, the lines that we speak on the intro, and each of the bullet points that we hit.
Listen, the idea or the premise behind leadership is that you are teaching, people are learning, and there's mentorship and there's coaching. You have to understand that if you are not showing up in a capacity for somebody to learn, or for somebody to be wowed by something that you're delivering that they don't know, then you're not the person to teach them. Then you're not the person to lead them. So at some point, the aspiration is that the student becomes the teacher. That's why we're there. We're there to get them to the next level. And so if you aren't showing up with value every day, every time you have an interaction, there's not real value that you're contributing, what are you there for? You're really, at that point, you're wasting time. You're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. So it's every time that you have an interaction with a teammate or an individual that you're really trying to get to become, to grasp these individual leadership concepts, you have to come very, very prepared. I have a conversation and some meetings actually that I have set up for this afternoon. And the basic premise is, listen, over the last 3 weeks, there's a specific business that I've, come into over the last 3 weeks, and it's been a complete restructure and overhaul really of corporate organization and culture. I mean, this is a real case study that's going on here, but listen, I'm having a blast, but the point of the conversation this afternoon is to identify the things that we've already grown in, that we've already evolved in over the last 3 weeks. The evolution that has occurred in the last 3 weeks has been far greater than they've actually been able to even accomplish in the last year and a half. And so the point is, here's what we've done. Here's how we've grown. What are you guys going to do this weekend specifically as a goal to continue to move this thing forward? How are we going to evolve? It doesn't need to be 10%. It doesn't need to be 20%. I'm fine with even 1%. I'm fine with, what I don't want is regression. And the reason that I'm coming into this with some intensity specifically today is because I can't be there. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. And so I'm making a decision to be with her, which is probably a safe and good decision. And I'm not going to be with the team over the weekend. And so the thing that scares me, or that I have a little anxiety about, is that they're able to function clearly with goals and intention without me being there, cracking the whip, so to speak, or guiding them or holding their hand. Because at some point, we're going to want them to fly completely freely without me. My job is to get them to a point where they no longer need me.
Arturo, would you say that expectations could be replaced with the word standards? Because as I'm hearing you speak this and I'm vibing with it, to me, this is a standard of excellence of everything that you do, which your excellence of systems and processes in the way that you're identifying each of the steps of what was good before and what we're going to do moving forward. This becomes the standard for how you all operate. And for someone like you, even when you remove yourself from a situation, you have an expectation for how everything will run. But for me, I look at that as a standard of excellence.
It is. I mean, listen, we're all a little different, right? But I think that those that prepare themselves, those that have clear goals, those that try to blaze trails are people that have a tremendously high standard of excellence, and that's also what people want to follow. That's what people want to buy. Like, people buy into leadership. They buy into following a person that is going to make them better, that is going to show them ways to get to the next step. Some of the conversations, again, in the same business that I've been having with people are they initially, people thought that I was there for their job. I said, on the contrary, I'm here to evolve your job so that you can actually maybe take my job. I'm not here to do what you're doing. I'm here to show you how to think like a much higher, more advanced leader and how to put yourself in a position. And this isn't just even for this organization or this business in particular. This is what I'm trying to explain to them, is that the stuff that I want you to learn, the stuff that I'm hoping that you'll absorb, and the stuff that I want to coach you is for you to use freely in any part of your life into the future. Whether you are with me for the next year, for the next 6 months, for the next 5 years, it's irrelevant. I'm going to teach you what I know because I think it's important. And that's my mission. That's my passion. These are the things that I set out to do anytime that I have an opportunity to interact with people.
Yeah, and Arturo, as we wrap a bow on this, one of the things that really resonates with me that you said was being so good at this as a student that you become the teacher. And that is foundational to the way that I coach people in creating not just success in business, but success in all areas of their life. And this is about experience and living it. That so often there's a flood of information and consumption, but that is not, air quotes, good enough. And that's not what leadership looks like. It is your ability to take that and do the next actions and do this consistently to where you can now, from your own experience. The reason why we're doing this podcast right here is because you and I have experience as leaders for ourselves, leaders as team leaders, as coaches. And in the process of that, we have lived these concepts on a day-to-day basis for decades at a time. And as leaders, the more that you live the experience, the more that you can then share that experience with others. And that's how you go from the student to the teacher. And like you said, them replacing you, not you replacing them.
Yeah, listen, and the other thing is, we spoke on, I think, on our previous concept about shedding ego. The idea of somebody trying to create another person in their image, so to speak, in terms of behavior, but to essentially be really dedicated to making that person even better than you. That requires somebody who really has left the ego outside and is committed to the true foundations of leadership. And that's really to allow people to evolve and to grow and to learn. And so I think that comes with the preparedness piece. I think it comes with the commitment to make sure that people are learning. But that's what it's all about.
So Arturo, let's get to our action item or our takeaway. And for today, I'm bringing an action item. I want you to share this podcast with someone that you want to elevate from student to teacher, where you hear the concepts in this and this resonates with you, and there's someone else out there that you are leading where you say, man, there's some light bulb moments in this for them, because you know what it's like to be the student, because quite frankly, we are always the students. But at the same time, we're also always the teachers. So get this in the hands of someone that needs to hear this. What about you, Arturo? What's your action item or takeaway?
I would just say that anybody who's trying to grasp onto what we spoke about today, I think the concept is fairly clear. I mean, being organized, being clear and concise with the intent of a specific meeting or of action. I would say that if you have meetings or interactions that you know that you're going to have with teammates planned, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, that you spend at least 20 to 30 minutes preparing for it. Like, don't walk into a situation without having an understanding of what the plan is. One of the things too that I push on with young managers and other people on the team is that every day that you walk into work, don't let it just be what we have blinders on and we're tunnel vision and we're going to clock in and we're going to clock out. Make it very, very specific that what's the goal? What's the goal of the day? What's the goal? In which way are you affecting your team or affecting the organization in a positive way? It could be one thing, it could be two things, but you have to have some level of preparedness. and it could be very, very basic. I'm consuming somebody's time. Why is my time consumption valid and valuable to that individual? If you can't answer that in a positive way, you're wasting everybody's time.
Wow, so much goodness in this episode, and we would love to hear from you on any of these little nuggets that we touched on there, bringing people from student to teacher to goal setting to setting clear expectations. Arturo, where can everybody connect with you?
Best place is going to be LinkedIn, Arturo Gomez.
And on my end, you can hit me up at Rob Cressy on LinkedIn or Instagram. We would love your feedback. We would love to hear from you on what resonates with you.